Okay, the next garden, we have to pretend it's a hot summer's day. No rain forecast. We're sitting in the garden in our shorts and t-shirts, and we're thinking of Mediterranean-style gardening. We're all pretending. A plant you see around all the Mediterranean countries is this plant here, lantana. It's fantastic for attracting butterflies. You get them in yellow or sort of more orangey colour. It's a plant that is banned in certain parts of the world because it's become a bit of a problem weed. But it's something that won't happen over here because the cold winter weather will quickly finish it off. I tend to use these. I pot them up in a sort of terracotta pot and stand them in the borders. In the autumn time, I bring them in and I just put them in a frost-free porch, prune them back, and then they'll grow again for next year. You can also, that look really good in a hot sunny border, is actually grow a citrus plant outside. Oranges, lemons, grapefruit. But you do need to bring them in, say from October time, and then keep them in a cool position but bright. They don't like to be brought into a dry, centrally heated room. A plant that will give you height at the back of a sun-loving border is this plant here, Lavateria. You get them in white, sort of light pink or dark pink flower. That will give you height at the back of the border. Remember, this plant goes from this height, within, say, another 2 months, will actually be about 2 metres in height. The flowers only last a day or so, but you get a multitude of them right through the season. Another plant you think of the Mediterranean is the lavender. Lavender comes from the Latin lavare, meaning to wash. And 2,000 years ago, they actually used the lavenders they used to put, after they washed their clothes, over the top of lavender to dry. And so the clothes would get a nice scent of the lavender to them. You've got this plant here, the cistus. The flowers only last a day, but it's quite attractive. It has a mass of these sort of flowers to them. They come in white or pink colours. The leaves are slightly sticky, and that's to deter insects. This plant here, rhodanthium, they look quite nice at the front of the display. As soon as the flowers go over, cut them back and you get a lot more coming through. Another plant coming from the sort of Turkey and Greece are the scabious. They're again lovely for attracting all the beneficial insects, the bees, the butterflies, things like that. To go along the front of the border, you can't beat the pinks. The smell of the pinks. When the sun was out the other day, within about 3 metres of the display over there, you could smell the flowers. The catmint. Mass of these blue flowers. It does get a little bit straggly. So after it flowers, cut it hard back, and then you get a lot of secondary growth that will come up and produce more of these bright blue flowers, loved by the bees and cats apparently, because they love to sit on the Another plant for Mediterranean border or hot area, although it originates from South Africa, is the agapanthus. People say you need to grow these in pots to get lots of flowers. I found it does just as well planted in the ground, and in the ground you don't have such a problem with overwintering them, keeping the frost out of the roots. If you look at the agapanthus, some of them have got narrow leaves like this that tend to lose the leaves in the winter time, There are other ones with larger, wider leaves. The wider the leaves, the less hardy they are, so they need more protection in the winter time. I quite like the colours of them. You get the like blues, you also get some with whites tinged with the blue at the background, at the back there. There again, you think Mediterranean, they have the grasses that grow amongst these sort of rocks and gravel. Put that slightly yellow one with the blue, and that adds to the effect. And there's this plant here, Uriops. It's not really 100% hardy in this country, but you get mass of these yellow flowers that gives the effect of being in the Mediterranean with a glass of red wine. So even this, we've got some colour, and this will do really well if it's a really hot, dry border, not much goodness in the ground as well. Lot these because they'll put up with very dry soil conditions. So if the weather does change in a month's time, and we go from this wet weather to the dry, this is the sort of garden to go for. And then what sorts of plants to go in the tub to give you colour? And I've gone for this plant here, Gazania. Needs the sunshine for the flowers to come out. Earlier on it thought the sun was coming out and the flowers opened, but since I put on the trolley they've started closing up again. Osteospermum, these plants, they come in a range of yellows, whites, reds, pinks, all sorts of colours. They do seem to have a boom and bust time. They flower really well, then they'll have 3-4 weeks off, and then they come back into flower. But keep giving them a good liquid tomato feed. And then this plant here, Nemesia, little sunshine, that's what we need today. But it's got that nice yellow flowers right the way through the summertime. This one here, when you get to August, where you get the softwood cuttings like that, take cuttings of them, overwinter them in a frost-free, if you're allowed, on the kitchen windowsill, somewhere like that, pop them up for next year. And that's our sort of bright Mediterranean border complete.